Chapter 4, Finding the Money in Niche Topic. Well, the money is what we're in it for. Although hopefully, if you followed my advice of picking a niche which is appealing to you, you will be in it for the fun as well. Now, the lesson we should know is that any niche has a profit potential. Thanks to our capitalist system and the instant gratification of the internet, consumers have the opportunity to indulge themselves tremendously. Let's recall some wacky, off-the-wall ideas from the recent past that shouldn't have made money, but they did. The Flying Spaghetti Monster. This is the idea that roared. This is nothing but a joke aimed at making fun of organized religion. The mock deity now has his own franchise, with t-shirts, bumper stickers, video games, and all sorts of products. An example of a niche character. Pogs. Remember these from the 80s? These were nothing more than plastic tokens with designs on them. And little sidewalk games similar to marbles. Kids started playing, collecting, and trading. An example of a niche fad, which, by the way, is a nostalgic topic now and is probably ripe for a comeback. Origami, the Japanese art form of paper folding, would seem tough to market after you've sold everybody enough paper, but instead, like other minor hobbies, such as needlepoint or soap carving, its profit potential can be exploited by trading diagrams, instructions, and ideas for new models. There is software you can buy which works on your desktop like a folding lab for creating new shapes. An example of a niche hobby. Firefox, the famous free web browser. How on earth can you make money giving your product away for free? Simply code a Google search box into the browser itself, and Google pays you for promotion. Firefox now has a market share of over 25%, and it's still climbing. Firefox is the modern incarnation of what used to be a doomed browser, name of Netscape. But now it's so hot that Google AdSense has a deal where you can place a Get Firefox button on your web page and collect $1 for each customer you send them, blowing away most AdSense keywords for profit. An example of an advertising-supported free niche product. Recall the car example from the first chapter, where I talked about selling Fords or Toyotas. Even though you've chosen the niche market of Toyotas, where everybody else is selling Chevys, your methods for marketing the product will still be the same. You still displayed the cars on a lot, offered test drives, priced competitively, and so on. Of course, your imagination and creativity will be your best asset. Maybe you'll be able to follow the example of others in mining a niche for riches. But after all, you weren't interested in niche marketing because you like to follow the crowd, were you? No, you're in it because you're confident that you can come up with your own way. Maybe even be a little crazy and original and let the crowd follow you for a change. That being said, we're going to investigate the profitability of our potential niche using very standard methods. If you come up with your own brilliantly original idea, that's more power to you. But I can't quantify that process. What I can quantify is the standard channels for finding profit potential. The thrill of the hunt. Back in Chapter 2, I mentioned some niches I'd stumbled upon. Recall my experiences with NetHack and ANSI Art. I'll be upfront with you. There's almost no way you're going to get rich off of either of those topics. The best you can hope for with those two topics is to make a buck on click-throughs for your ads. In my example, I run a geek site. The extreme fringe elements are only getting a tiny slice of my site. It's only when I knit together interest in a bunch of little topics under the general category of geek interest that I get decent traffic. In any case, my point is that these were niches that I'd stumbled upon, not ones that I made money on by themselves. Lots of sites do this. Two sites focused on the collective presentation of niche subjects is boingboing.net and damninteresting.com. These are kind of intellectual playgrounds and galleries of curios. You might think that knitting niches together is a small deal, but if you've ever made the front page of Boing Boing, you'll know that's one powerful traffic hose directed at your site for a glorious week. So what are we looking for? A high-demand market with little competition. Ha! Yes, that's the deal. And what a silly thing to insist on. Of course, you might be smart, but there aren't enough fools in the world to ensure you that you'll continually find vast areas of the market going untapped. If there's that much money to be made from it, somebody has usually thought of a way to get at it. Anyway, we'll set our sights on a high-demand market with little competition. But realistically, we'll understand that at best, a niche market is a small thing. Many niche markets strung together will potentially equal a bonanza. Occasionally, if you stay on top of the information out there, you might get into a niche market just at the time when interest in it is surging. Think of the first lucky website to start promoting the iPod, for instance. Or look at YouTube 2 years ago. The site was unheard of. Upload videos and trade comments on them. Then 2 years later, Google buys for a crazy $1.65 billion. Whoa, wouldn't we all like to be YouTube? We'll keep our hopes up and head back to the drawing board. Here are some easy research tools to use online for evaluating a potential profit area. Google Trends. That's www.google.com/trends. The number one place to assess the popularity of a keyword in terms of search engine traffic. Search Engine Watch. searchenginewatch.com/showpage.html. The link I have here is to a post on Search Engine Watch, itself a staple of the SEO study, that lists links to the buzz indexes, listing the top topics being searched for throughout each respective search engine. Here's just one of these, the Yahoo Buzzlog. I like Buzzlog because unlike Google Zeitgeist or AOL Hot Searches, Yahoo Buzzlog aims at spotting niche trends. Here, it is grouping together a whole category of searches. Video game cheats on the day after Christmas. Now, video games by themselves aren't even a niche market. Searching for cheats is also popular on its own, but we could pick through these and make a site with a genre of games. Not just cheat codes, but with plenty of link bait for people to find. The rest of the year, video game cheats might not be a blip on the radar. But right after Christmas, people are obviously looking for cheat codes to exploit the new games they just got. Not very sporting of them, is it? I only had it one day and they want to cheat? But anyway. So, I did this to show two other ways to spot a niche with profit potential. By seasonal variation and by specific niche within a broad area. For instance, one of the games, Sims 2, is an astounding popular Sims video game. There is a whole cottage industry composed of making custom objects for Maxis 3D Life Simulator. Even though the Sims series has been out for years and market saturation for selling the game titles themselves has been reached, interest in this game will continue for many more years due to its infinite replay value and the way you can go on modifying it forever. There's that long tail again. Finally, it's well worth the free price of maintaining a blog at places such as blogger.com to use as a fishing hole. Get a free hit counter which tracks incoming searches and slap it on the blog. Now try writing a brief post on a niche topic. Check back in a few days. Did your little low-ranking blog get an influx of, say, 50 extra hits in one day coming in looking for that topic? This is a sign of two great things. There is at least some interest in the topic and low competition for it. If there were no interest, you'd get no hits. If there were too much competition, you'd get no hits either, because some other Sharpie has already opened up a huge site, SEO optimized to the max to get all the hits. Reality check. We don't just make up a new specialty and sit smug. The other half of the equation is money. So we need an area that has all three characteristics. Low supply, very few people have thought of doing business here, which is why it's a niche. High demand, Of course, not too high, or we're dreaming in the clouds. But it won't do us any good if nobody anywhere on the planet cares about it. If the interest is zero, there isn't a niche. It's a vacuum. And potential profit is the third one. You have to be sure that there is some way to make money off it. To find low supply, use search engines to look for your term and some of the top phrases and keywords associated with that term. Look for low hit counts. To find high demand, use the search engine watches and buzz indexes to find topics with a high degree of interest. To find potential profit, look for businesses already on the web doing business in that niche, or think of a separate niche which has business models you could easily adapt. Last, you can do like the pioneers I showed you at the beginning of this chapter did and come up with your own brilliant business plan out of almost nothing. It's a long shot, but worth mentioning. Don't let it break your heart if you find a few more competitors than you'd hoped for. There might be room for one more seller. Don't be crestfallen if the demand is lower than you'd hoped. You can always hype the daylights out of your project. You can create new interest where none existed before. If you're American or British, you might never have heard of Vegemite. But now that I brought it up, and you've searched Google Trends about it, you're at least a little curious to try it, right? How wrong could 20 million Australians be? As for actual methods of turning the interest into profit, that's a little easier. Even if the products of the niche itself have no wealth potential, interest in it can be turned into money anyway. We're going to look at the actual idea of either being ad-supported with content about the niche or creating a product within the niche in the next chapter.